Hi guys, welcome back to Felix BL Stories channel. I hope you enjoy this new story. The Alpha consultant found me beneath my office desk at 2:13 in the morning, with one hand locked around a heating patch and the other covering an accommodation form human resources claimed had never existed. Nathan Gray did not shout when he saw me. That would have been easier. He stopped in the doorway, loosened his charcoal tie, and stared at the narrow space where I had folded myself between a filing cabinet and a nest of sample books. His cedar and rain scent sharpened with alarm. "Arlo," he said, "get up. I am working on it." "You are sleeping under a desk." I was resting. His gaze moved to the blue folder under my palm, then to the 3 finished cover illustrations glowing on my monitor. Those covers belonged to 3 different artists. Only one of them was mine. Nathan's expression changed when he understood that. It did not become kind. It became dangerous. "Who made you stay here?" he asked. I laughed once, because pain had stripped me of the energy required for good judgment. "You did." Before I tell you how the most ruthless efficiency consultant in publishing ended up kneeling on an office carpet beside an omega he had already marked for dismissal, take a second to like the video and subscribe for more dramatic BL stories. This is the YouTube safe version. The full uncut continuation, adult spicy scenes, Nathan's alternate alpha point of view, the real ending, and the bonus epilogue are available on Patreon through the link in the description and pinned comment. 9 days earlier, Nathan Gray had called me difficult in front of 43 employees and a wall-sized screen showing my declining attendance score. He had arrived at Bellwether House Publishing during the worst quarter in the company's history. Our largest distributor had threatened to cut shelf space. 2 celebrity authors had missed deadlines. The board wanted a restructuring plan before the annual Glass Lantern book launch, which was only 10 days away. Nathan had a reputation for walking into failing companies, finding waste, and removing it with surgical precision. He was 34, broad-shouldered, controlled, and so immaculately dressed that even his silence looked expensive. He was also an alpha whose presence changed the pressure in a room. He never pushed his scent openly. He did not need to. People straightened when he entered. Voices lowered. Even the old fluorescent lights seemed to buzz more carefully. I was 29, an omega illustrator with a damaged nervous system, unreliable joints, and a talent for making fictional cities look more alive than the one I actually lived in. My chronic pain was not dramatic most days. It was repetitive. It was the burn in my hips after standing on a crowded train. It was the electric ache down my left leg when an escalator stopped working. It was the way my hands stiffened after carrying a laptop bag for too long. It was the calculation behind every ordinary movement. Could I climb those stairs and still draw tonight? Could I attend that meeting and still cook dinner? Could I commute home and make it back tomorrow? Most people saw only the answer. They did not see the cost. Nathan stood at the front of the conference room while a graph displayed employee productivity in green, yellow, and red. My name was red. "Mr. Quinn has missed 6 morning briefings in 8 weeks," he said. I sat beside my editor, Mina Reyes, and felt every person in the room become interested in the table. Mina was a beta with silver hoops, sharp eyebrows, and the moral patience of a saint who carried a knife. She raised her hand. "Arlo has attended remotely when the invitation included a video link." Nathan glanced at his tablet. The briefings were designated in person. His accommodation request asked for remote attendance. Across the table, Celeste Voss, our human resources chief, folded her manicured hands. "We have no approved accommodation on file." I looked at her. She did not look back. The blue folder sat in my lap. It held printouts of 5 requests, 12 follow-up emails, 2 physician letters, and a maintenance notice from my apartment building. I had brought it because Celeste had asked me to provide everything again. It was the 4th time she had asked. Nathan turned toward me. "Mr. Quinn, is there a reason you did not complete the approval process?" I did. Celeste smiled with professional sorrow. The portal shows drafts, not submission. That is not true. Nathan's gaze sharpened. The room went still. I could smell Jasper Vane's citrus cologne from 3 seats away. Jasper was another illustrator, talented enough to know exactly how talented he was, and competitive enough to treat collaboration like a contagious disease. He leaned back in his chair. Some of us have been covering a lot of last-minute work. Mina's head snapped toward him. I spoke before she could. Some of you have been receiving files I repaired without my name attached. Jasper's mouth tightened. Nathan tapped the screen. My attendance graph expanded. There were little red marks beside dates when I had left early, arrived late, or worked from home without formal approval. There were no marks beside the nights I had stayed until dawn. There were no marks beside the weekends I had rebuilt damaged print files. There were no marks beside the emergency illustrations I had completed after other artists missed their deadlines. Efficiency had counted my absence. It had not counted my rescue work. Nathan looked at the graph, then at me. My job is to evaluate reliable output. My output is in every department. Your name is attached to inconsistent attendance and repeated policy exceptions. My name is attached to the work when someone remembers to leave it there. A few people looked up. Mina touched my wrist beneath the table, a warning and an anchor. Nathan's jaw flexed. You are making this unnecessarily difficult. The words landed with a softness that hurt more than anger. Difficult. Not the building. Not the broken systems. Not the meetings scheduled in rooms without supportive chairs. Not the train station elevator that failed twice a week. Me. I opened the blue folder and slid the top page across the table. This is the first request I submitted 4 months ago. Celeste did not touch it. Nathan did. His fingers rested on the page as he read the date. The request was simple. Remote attendance for morning meetings. An ergonomic chair. Permission to use the small wellness room during pain flares. Flexible arrival after medical appointments. Nothing on that page required heroism. Nathan turned it over. There was no approval stamp. No receipt number, he said. The system never sent one. Then you should have escalated. I stared at him. I did. Celeste sighed. Arlo, we have had this conversation. Your emails were acknowledged, but you never completed the required documentation. My physician sent it twice. We did not receive it. Mina opened her laptop. I was copied on the second transmission. Nathan looked at her. Forward it to me. Celeste's smile thinned. Employee medical material should remain with human resources. Then provide the record after this meeting. I will review what we have. Nathan returned his attention to the screen. The moment passed. My folder remained in front of him. He did not give it back. By lunch, everyone knew I had argued with the consultant. By 3, someone had posted a photograph in the private staff chat. It showed my shoes sticking out from beneath my desk 2 weeks earlier. The caption read, "Bellwether's most productive nap." I stared at the image until the letters blurred. Then my phone buzzed again. Jasper had reacted with a laughing face. Mina appeared at my cubicle, carrying 2 coffees and enough fury to power the building. I am going to break his perfect nose. You cannot. I can. I have excellent upper body strength. You are 5'4". Anger adds height. Despite everything, I smiled. She set 1 coffee beside my tablet. Did Celeste ever give you a case number? No. Did she answer your emails? With phone calls. Of course she did. Mina glanced toward the glass offices on the upper floor. Nathan was standing inside the largest one with Celeste and our chief executive, Miriam Bell. He looked down at the production floor as Celeste spoke. For 1 second, his eyes met mine. I looked away first. My phone buzzed a 3rd time. This message came from building management. Elevator repair delayed. Estimated completion, 3 to 4 weeks. I lived on the 6th floor. The elevator had already been broken for 7 weeks. I had managed the stairs twice after it failed. The first time, I spent the next day vomiting from pain. The second time, my left knee gave out between the 4th and 5th floors, and my neighbor found me sitting on a step at midnight with my laptop pressed to my chest. After that, I developed a routine. On Mondays, I packed enough medication, clothing, and food to remain at the office until Thursday. I washed in the accessible shower beside the company gym before anyone arrived. I used the wellness room when it was empty. When Celeste began locking that room after 6, I moved beneath my desk. On Thursday nights, Mina drove me home. On Fridays, I worked remotely. It was not safe. It was not dignified. It was what I had. Nathan emerged from the executive office at 4:30. He walked straight toward me. People pretended not to watch. He placed my blue folder on my desk. Human Resources found no submission records matching these copies. Then Human Resources lost them. Or they were not submitted correctly. The room seemed to tilt. I pressed my thumb into the base of my palm until pain in one place distracted from pain in another. Nathan noticed. His gaze dropped to my hand. I followed the instructions, I said. Your editor's forwarded email included a physician attachment, but the attachment was corrupted. It opened when she sent it. It does not open now. Then ask the physician for another copy. That is your responsibility. No. The word came out low. Nathan's eyebrows lifted. I kept going. I have done my part. 5 times. I am not going to spend another week proving that my body deserves a chair. His scent deepened, not aggressive, but intensely focused. Several omegas across the room glanced up. He immediately pulled it back. That restraint should not have mattered. It did. Come to my office, he said. Is that an order? It is a private conversation. Then ask. A pulse moved in his jaw. Will you come to my office, Arlo? I stood slowly. My hip caught halfway upright. The movement was small. The humiliation was not. Nathan reached out. I stepped back before he touched me. His hand stopped in the air. Something unreadable crossed his face. Then he lowered it. I can walk, I said. I did not say you could not. You did not have to. I carried the blue folder upstairs. Inside his temporary office, Nathan closed the door but left the blinds open. That choice registered immediately. An alpha closing a door with an omega employee could become a rumor by dinner. Keeping the room visible protected both of us. He gestured toward a chair. It was low, hard, and designed by someone who hated spines. I will stand. You were in pain when you stood. I will still be in pain if I sit there. Nathan looked at the chair as though it had personally insulted him. Then he crossed to the conference table and pulled out the only adjustable seat. He checked the controls before rolling it toward me. It was an awkward gesture. It was also the first useful thing he had done. I sat. He remained standing. The Glass Lantern launch is in 10 days, he said. The board believes the event will determine whether Bellwether keeps its independent distribution contract. I know. The featured book is The Clockmaker's Garden. I illustrated the original edition. I know. That surprised me. The Clockmaker's Garden had been my first major commission. It was a fantasy novel about a boy who could repair time, but not his own heart. The new anniversary edition required 12 full-page illustrations, metallic cover details, and an animated display for the launch hall. I had completed 9 illustrations. Jasper had been assigned the marketing adaptations. Nathan turned his tablet around. A schedule filled the screen. My name had been moved from lead illustrator to support. Jasper's name had replaced it. I stared at the change. Who approved this? I did. Based on attendance. Based on delivery risk. My illustrations are ahead of schedule. Your presence is unpredictable. The work is not. The launch requires live collaboration. Then include a remote link. Some tasks are easier in person. Easier for whom? Nathan exhaled through his nose. This is what I meant by difficult. And this is what I mean by access. The silence between us thickened. His cedar scent remained carefully contained, but I could feel the alpha tension beneath it. He was not used to being challenged by someone seated. I was not used to caring whether a powerful alpha understood me. That annoyed me most of all. Nathan folded his arms. If you can guarantee participation, I will reconsider the assignment. I cannot guarantee that the train elevator will work. Then arrange alternative transportation. With whose money? The company may reimburse travel under exceptional circumstances. May reimburse means I pay first and hope later. His mouth opened, then closed. I leaned forward. Do you see the pattern? I see a project at risk. I am the person who made the project possible, and I am responsible for making sure it launches. Then stop measuring me with tools designed to erase what I do. For the first time, Nathan looked less angry than uncertain. He glanced at the blue folder in my lap. What would guarantee your participation? The question was better than an order. I still did not trust it. Remote access to every meeting. Written approval for flexible hours. The wellness room unlocked. A chair that does not feel like punishment. Transportation paid directly if you require me on site. He picked up his tablet. I thought he was taking notes. Instead, he opened a message. A moment later, my phone buzzed. A calendar invitation appeared for 7 the next morning. Mandatory in-person launch review. I looked at him. Was that supposed to be funny? No. It was scheduled before this conversation. Then change it. The author is joining from London. Remotely. Nathan's eyes narrowed. I held his gaze. 3 seconds passed. Then he tapped the screen. The invitation updated. Video link added. It was a tiny change. It felt like a crack in a wall. Anything else? He asked. Yes. What? Put my name back on my work. He did not answer. That night, I stayed after everyone left. Not because Nathan ordered me to, because the anniversary cover was wrong. Jasper had shifted the clock tower 3 millimeters to make room for a promotional seal. 3 millimeters should not have mattered. It changed the entire perspective grid. The tower no longer aligned with the street below it, which made the city appear to lean. I opened the source file and began rebuilding the layers. At 11:40, the cleaning crew passed my desk. At 12:20, the last security guard on the lower floor turned off half the lights. At 1:10, my left leg began to tremble. I took medication with cold coffee. At 1:30, I spread my coat beneath the desk. At 1:47, an email arrived from Nathan. Subject: Revised assignment. Arlo, your name has been restored as lead illustrator for the Clockmaker's Garden, pending tomorrow's review. Attendance options have been added to all launch meetings. Please confirm receipt. Nathan Gray. There was no apology. There was no warmth. There was, however, a change. I typed a reply. Received. Then I added a second sentence. The perspective error in the marketing cover will be corrected before morning. His answer came less than a minute later. Why are you still at the office? I stared at the question. Then I closed my laptop without replying. The next morning, Nathan joined the launch review from the conference room. I joined from beneath my own blanket at home. My camera was off. Mina presented the production timeline. Jasper presented the marketing art as though he had not created the error I repaired. Nathan interrupted him after 30 seconds. Who corrected the cover grid? Jasper hesitated. The art team. Which member? Mina muted herself, probably to laugh. Jasper glanced at the participant list. Arlo made a technical adjustment. Nathan's voice cooled. Then say Arlo corrected it. Jasper's face tightened on screen. Arlo corrected it. My chest did something inconvenient. Nathan continued the meeting as though he had not just forced a public credit correction. When it ended, he sent me a private message. "You did not answer my question." I typed. "It was not related to the project." His reply appeared. "It is related if you are working unsafe hours." I wrote, "Do not turn concern into surveillance." The typing indicator appeared, vanished, and appeared again. Finally, he sent one line. "Understood." I expected victory to feel better. Instead, I spent the next hour wondering what he had almost written. For 2 days, the launch moved forward without catastrophe. Bellwether House did not believe in calm. It believed in delayed disasters. On Wednesday afternoon, Jasper entered the creative review carrying a cream portfolio and announced a more commercial direction for the anniversary campaign. The third page contained a private sketch I had never submitted. A boy stood beneath a broken clock, while golden machinery opened behind his heart. I had drawn it after a doctor warned that my condition might progress. "Where did you get that?" I asked. "It was in the legacy files." "No, it was in my restricted archive." The door opened before Jasper could answer. Nathan entered with an Omega man who used a slim forearm crutch and wore amusement-like armor. "This is Eli Gray," Nathan said. "He is reviewing accessibility for the launch." Eli glanced at him. "You forgot younger brother and unwilling volunteer." Mina immediately offered Eli the best chair. Nathan looked at the sketch. "Was this commissioned?" "No," I said. Jasper crossed his arms. "It tested well with marketing." "You tested my private work?" Celeste appeared in the doorway with suspiciously perfect timing. "Materials stored on company servers may be repurposed under the creative agreement." "Only submitted materials," Mina said. Nathan turned to Jasper. "How did you enter a restricted folder?" "I searched the archive." "With whose credentials?" Jasper looked toward Celeste. The glance lasted less than a second. Nathan saw it. So did I. He closed the portfolio. "The sketch is removed. Information technology will audit the access history." Celeste's smile hardened. "The audit can wait until after the launch." "No." Nathan did not raise his voice. His restrained alpha authority moved through the room anyway. "You were hired to improve efficiency," Celeste said. "Unauthorized access is an efficiency risk." Eli leaned on his crutch. "People think accessibility reviews are only about ramps. They usually reveal locked rooms, broken permissions, and managers who think policy is a personality." Celeste left without answering. Nathan handed me the portfolio. "Keep it as evidence." "You believe me now?" "I believe access logs." The answer was not warm, but it was honest. After the meeting, Eli found me waiting for the freight elevator. "My brother invited me because he is trying not to repeat old mistakes," he said. "What mistakes?" "When we were teenagers, he carried my bags, canceled plans for me, and called my university to rearrange my schedule without asking." "He loved you like a military operation." Eli laughed. "That is exactly it. I stopped speaking to him for almost a year." "Why tell me?" "Because he asked me what accommodations would be reasonable for you." My stomach tightened. Without asking me, I told him that was his first mistake. The elevator opened. Nathan waited outside when we reached the lobby. He asked me to join him in a small meeting room. The chair was hard enough to make my hip burn before I sat. Nathan noticed. "Your pain is worse. Do not interpret my body because your brother gave you a reference guide." His expression tightened. Then he nodded. "You are right. What would be useful?" "A different room." We moved to the editorial lounge. He waited until I chose the sofa and sat across from me. "The access history for your private archive was overwritten 6 days ago," he said. "The vendor is restoring a backup. Can it show who entered?" "Yes." "Can it show deleted human resources records?" "Possibly." I watched him. "You think I told the truth?" "Yes." "Then say it publicly when you have proof." He accepted the condition. His phone rang before he could answer further. The distributor had moved the final approval deadline forward. We now had 48 hours. The secure animation files are on site, Nathan said. Give me remote access. Security policy prohibits it. Change the policy. It needs executive approval. Get it. His eyes narrowed. Then he stood. Come with me. Miriam Bell's office held Celeste, Jasper, and 2 versions of the launch schedule. Nathan entered without ceremony. We need remote server access for Arlo. The security team advised against it, Miriam said. Jasper leaned forward. I can complete the recovery here. You do not know the animation rig, I said. Celeste sighed. This hostility is part of Arlo's documented pattern. Nathan placed his tablet on the desk. Several performance notes were created after the incidents they claimed to document. The room changed. Celeste stared at him. That is a serious accusation. It is a serious discrepancy. He recommended remote credentials for me and a temporary freeze on creative department performance actions until the audit finished. Celeste said he had no authority over human resources. Nathan replied that his restructuring contract covered actions threatening launch continuity. Miriam looked at me. Can you deliver the revised package by tomorrow afternoon? If I receive the files and final decisions by midnight, you will. Remote access was approved. Outside the office, I said, you called my request risk correction. It kept the decision professional. It sounded like an insult. You asked me not to rescue you privately. You could have warned me. You are right. I stopped walking. You keep saying that. You have been right several times. It is unsettling. The corner of his mouth moved. Try not to become dependent on it. It was the first time I saw the man behind the consultant. It made the next 24 hours more dangerous than the deadline. The next 24 hours became a controlled disaster. Mina coordinated text approvals with the author. Eli mapped the launch hall and discovered that the temporary stage ramp was too steep. Jasper rebuilt the marketing assets under supervision. Nathan moved between departments, cutting through delays with terrifying efficiency. I worked from home, with my feet elevated and the remote server open across 3 screens. At 10 that night, my building's power flickered. At 10:15, the internet failed. At 10:20, I called Nathan. He answered on the first ring. What happened? My connection is down. How long? The provider says maybe 6 hours. I am sending a car. No. A pause. Arlo. Do not make decisions for me. The deadline is in 17 hours. I know. What do you propose? The question steadied me. I need a location with secure internet, a supportive chair, and no stairs. The office. The wellness room is locked. I have the master access code. I do not want to sleep under my desk again. His silence lasted long enough to become an answer. You will not, he said. Where am I supposed to rest? I will arrange options and send them before the car arrives. You choose. That was new. 10 minutes later, he texted 3 possibilities. A ground-floor hotel suite across from the office. The executive lounge with a reclining sofa and private washroom. A 24-hour adaptive co-working studio recommended by Eli. The company would pay directly. I chose the executive lounge because the secure server was already there. The car arrived with a driver who knew not to touch my bag until I asked. Nathan had learned something. That frightened me almost as much as wanting him to learn more. At midnight, the office was bright with emergency work. Mina had removed her shoes and taken command of the conference table. Eli was arguing with the event contractor over ramp measurements. Jasper sat at the far end, rebuilding promotional panels in silence. Nathan met me in the lobby. He did not reach for my coat. He did not ask whether I was all right. He said, "The lounge is ready. Do you want to see it before you start?" Yes. He walked beside me at my pace. Not ahead, not behind, beside. The executive lounge had been transformed. The harsh ceiling lights were off. A task lamp glowed beside the reclining sofa. An adjustable table held a drawing monitor. There was water, food, a heating wrap still sealed in its package, and a printed card listing the access code for the private washroom. Nothing was arranged like a romantic gesture. Everything was arranged like infrastructure. I looked at Nathan. Who did this? Facilities. Who told them what to do? I gave them the list you provided. The list I had written for human resources 4 months earlier. My throat tightened. He noticed. He did not comment. The room is yours until the deadline, he said. The lock has been changed. Only you have the code. Not even you? Not unless you give it to me. Thank you. Nathan nodded. Then he placed the blue folder on the adjustable table. I had left it in his office. Why is this here? The audit team needs copies tomorrow. Keep the originals. I touched the worn edge. The folder had become heavier each time someone doubted me. Now, for the first time, it felt like evidence. Nathan turned to leave. Nathan, he stopped. You can come in if I invite you. His gaze met mine. The alpha in him went perfectly still. Understood, he said. At 2 in the morning, I finished the animation rig. At 3, I repaired the metallic cover separations. At 4, Jasper sent a message asking whether I could check the promotional panels. I nearly ignored it. Then I opened the files. The work was clean. Not perfect. Clean. I made 3 notes and sent them back. He replied with 2 words. Thank you. At 4:30, Mina fell asleep with her cheek on a stack of proofs. At 5, Eli left to meet the event contractor. At 5:10, Nathan appeared at the lounge door and knocked against the frame. You are invited, I said. He entered carrying tea. Facilities did not make that, I said. No. You did. Yes. Is this unwanted rescue? It is tea. Powerful alphas have hidden entire control problems inside smaller objects. His almost smile returned. I asked Mina what you drink. That is research. Do you want it? I held out my hand. Yes. He gave me the cup. Our fingers did not touch. The fact that he made sure they did not touch was more intimate than accidental contact would have been. He looked at the finished animation on the monitor. The clockwork city unfolded beneath a violet sky. A silver train moved through the streets. At the center, the broken tower repaired itself one glowing piece at a time. Nathan watched in silence. What do you think? I asked. I think the distributor will sign. That was not my question. He looked at me. I think it is beautiful. Something in his voice made the room feel smaller. I looked down at the tea. You are less irritating at 5 in the morning. You are still difficult. My head snapped up. His expression was calm. Then I saw the humor in his eyes. I threw a wrapped sugar packet at him. He caught it. The movement pulled a real smile from him at last. It changed his whole face. It was unfair. Then his phone buzzed. The smile vanished. He read the message. What? I asked. The archive backup is ready. My pulse quickened. Does it show who accessed my files? It shows more than that. He turned the screen toward me. A list of deleted records filled the display. My name appeared 12 times. Beside each entry was the same administrator code. C. Voss, HR. Celeste Voss. Below my accommodation requests were files belonging to 3 other employees. A beta copy editor requesting captioning software. An Omega receptionist requesting scent-free meeting options during pregnancy. A designer requesting temporary remote work after surgery. All deleted. All followed by performance warnings. The room seemed to lose sound. Nathan's scent sharpened. Cedar turning dark with anger. He controlled it immediately. I stared at the screen. She did this to all of us. Yes. Why? We do not know yet. You said the audit showed more. Nathan hesitated. That frightened me. What else? He opened a second document. It was a restructuring list. My name sat at the top under a heading that read, Non-Essential Creative Reductions. Beside it was Nathan's digital approval. The date was 2 days before he found the deleted files. I looked at him. He did not look away. You approved my dismissal. Yes. The word was quiet. The betrayal was not. I set the tea down before I dropped it. You restored my lead assignment while planning to fire me. The list was preliminary. You signed it. I signed a recommendation based on the records I had. The records Celeste made. I know. You believed them. Yes. The honesty cut deeper than excuses would have. I stood too quickly. Pain flashed white through my hip. Nathan moved forward, then stopped himself. His hands curled at his sides. Do not, I said. I am not touching you. Do not look at me like that. Like what? Like I am something you failed to save. His face went still. I grabbed the blue folder. The edge caught beneath my tablet and knocked the cup over. Tea spread across the table. Nathan reached for the papers. I pulled them away. I can handle it. I know. No, you do not. You keep learning the correct sentence and using it like a key. His jaw tightened. That is not fair. Neither was signing my name. I cannot change what I did before I knew. You could have asked before you decided I was disposable. The word hit him. I saw it. Good. I wanted it to hurt. Nathan stepped back. You are right. Stop saying that. What do you want me to say? I want you to admit that you did not need proof to treat me like a person. Silence filled the lounge. Outside the glass wall, dawn was turning the office windows gray. Nathan's voice dropped. I did not need proof. My anger cracked around the words. He continued. I needed proof to accuse Celeste. I did not need it to listen to you. I failed to separate those things. I held the folder against my chest. What happens now? The recommendation is withdrawn. That is not enough. No. The other employees need to know. Yes. Celeste needs to be removed from the investigation. Yes. Miriam needs to preserve everything before someone deletes the backup. I already sent a legal hold. I stared at him. When? Before I showed you. That was strategy. Not rescue. It still did not erase his signature. Nathan took a slow breath. There is something else. Of course there is. The board is considering a sale. I felt cold. To whom? North Star Media. Bellwether employees used North Star's name the way villagers in old stories used the name of a winter demon. North Star bought independent publishers, kept the profitable authors, and closed everything else. Nathan continued. Celeste's performance metrics are part of the sale package. Accommodation costs are listed as nearly zero. I understood. She deleted requests to make the company look cheaper. That is my working theory. And you were hired to make the numbers cleaner. Yes. Did you know about the sale when you came here? Yes. Did Mina? No. Did I? No. The betrayal widened. It was no longer only personal. The whole building had been working toward a launch they thought would save their independence while the board negotiated its price. I looked through the glass at Mina sleeping over the proofs. What happens if the distributor signs? Bellwether becomes more valuable. To North Star, yes. And if they do not, the board will claim a sale is necessary. So either way they win. Not necessarily. Nathan's expression changed. The consultant returned, but now I could see the anger beneath the calculation. The sale package relies on clean compliance metrics. The deleted requests make those metrics false. You can stop the sale. We can force disclosure. We? His gaze held mine. If you choose to use the evidence. There it was. A choice. Not a plan announced on my behalf. Not a rescue performed before I could object. A choice placed in my hands. I looked down at the blue folder. For months it had been a record of what the company refused to see. Now it could become the thing that made looking away impossible. I need time, I said. Nathan nodded. How much? Until after the deadline. The distributor presentation is in 4 hours. Then give me 4 hours. He moved toward the door. I stopped him. Nathan. He turned. I am still angry. You should be. I do not forgive you. I know. And I do not want you deciding that remorse gives you access to me. His expression softened with something painful. Understood. He left the lounge and closed the door gently behind him. For the next 3 hours, I worked with fury instead of hope. The animation rendered at 7:12. The metallic cover proofs were approved at 7:40. Jasper sent the final campaign panels at 8. Mina woke, drank half a cold coffee, and performed a quality review in 9 minutes. At 8:30, we joined the distributor call. Miriam presented the anniversary plan. Nathan presented the revised launch schedule. I shared my screen. The clockwork city opened beneath a violet sky. The broken tower repaired itself. The silver train crossed the bridge. At the final second, the illustrated boy beneath the clock looked up as morning entered the city. No one spoke when the animation ended. Then the distributor's creative director said, "That is the campaign." The contract extension was signed at 9:17. People cheered across the office. Mina hugged me before asking. I forgave her. Jasper sat at the conference table with both hands over his face. Nathan stood near the windows. Everyone congratulated him. He redirected every question toward the creative team. When Miriam praised his leadership, he said, "Arlo Quinn delivered the work that secured the contract." He said it in front of everyone, just as I had asked. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I kept seeing his signature beside my name. At 10, Celeste announced a mandatory all-staff launch briefing. At 10:05, Nathan received an email that turned his face to stone. At 10:07, Jasper disappeared from the production floor. At 10:12, someone slipped a sealed envelope beneath the lounge door. Inside was a printed screenshot of a message from Celeste to Jasper. Document every incident involving Quinn. The board needs a clean record before launch. A second screenshot showed Jasper asking what he would receive. Celeste replied, "Lead illustrator after restructuring." At the bottom of the envelope, Jasper had written one sentence by hand. She told me he was already being fired. The second disaster had arrived. This one carried proof. I found Jasper in the loading dock stairwell. He sat on the third step with his tie undone and his phone between both hands. The stairwell smelled of concrete, dust, and fear. "You sent the screenshots," I said. He looked up. His usual confidence was gone. "I thought she was documenting performance. You traded photographs of me for my job. I did not know about the requests. You knew the photograph under my desk would humiliate me." His face tightened. "Yes." The answer stopped me. I had expected excuses. "I was angry," he said. "You kept fixing things I missed. Mina kept giving you the important pages. Every time people praised the campaign, they praised the parts you touched. So you wanted my place?" "Yes." "Celeste offered it to you?" "Yes." I rested one hand on the railing. The climb from the loading dock had already sent heat through my hip. Jasper noticed and looked away. "She said you refused to follow the accommodation process," he continued. "She said you used your condition to avoid meetings and then made everyone else feel guilty. And you believed her." "I wanted to. The honesty was ugly. It was also useful. Why give me the screenshots now?" Jasper looked at his phone. "Because she told me to delete the original messages this morning. Then she sent me a draft announcement naming me creative director after the launch. That is what you wanted. Not like this." I almost laughed. People always discovered ethics when the cost became personal. He unlocked his phone and held it out. The message thread was longer than the printed screenshots. Olme. Celeste had instructed him to photograph my desk, report late arrivals, preserve examples of hostile conduct, and copy her on any corrections I made to other artists' files. She had also told him to remove my name from repair notes because undocumented support work would complicate the performance case. My stomach turned. You knew she was removing my credit. I knew she told me to consolidate team notes. That is not an answer. His eyes met mine. Yes, I knew. The stairwell door opened above us. Nathan appeared. He took in the scene, then stopped several steps away. He did not descend until I nodded. That mattered. Jasper has the full message thread, I said. Nathan's gaze moved to the phone. Do not send it through company email. I know, Jasper said. Nathan's expression turned glacial. No, you do not. Jasper stood. Nathan did not threaten him. He did not raise his voice. He simply looked at the man who had helped build a case against me and said, You will preserve the device. You will speak to outside counsel. You will not contact Celeste. You will not erase a single file. Jasper swallowed. And if I refuse? Then the audit log, the archive breach, and the metadata on your photographs will speak without you. The Alpha did not sound angry. He sounded inevitable. Jasper handed me the phone. I will cooperate. I did not take it. Give it to Nathan. His eyes flicked toward me. Why? Because I am not carrying your guilt for you. Jasper's hand dropped. Nathan accepted the phone only after Jasper signed a short evidence receipt on his tablet. Even in a stairwell, he created a chain of custody. That should not have been attractive. It was. We returned to the production floor together. Everyone's screens displayed the same human resources announcement. Mandatory launch conduct review at noon. Below the heading was a paragraph about professionalism, confidentiality, and the consequences of spreading unverified accusations. Celeste was moving first. Mina met us beside my desk. She locked me out of Arlo's personnel file, she said. Nathan checked his own access. She locked me out of the Human Resources archive. Can she do that? I asked. She just did. His phone buzzed. A second message arrived from Miriam. Celeste had reported a suspected data breach and accused Nathan of accessing protected medical records outside the scope of his contract. The legal hold remained active, but the board had suspended his administrative permissions pending review. Nathan read the message twice. Then he looked at me. She wants the deleted records treated as illegally obtained. Can she make them unusable? She can delay. The launch is tomorrow. I know. Mina crossed her arms. What is she planning? I looked at the conduct review announcement. She is going to make me the scandal. At noon, the entire company gathered in the main conference hall. Celeste stood on the stage beneath the bellwether logo. Miriam sat in the front row with two board members. Nathan stood at the side wall. His access badge had been replaced with a temporary visitor pass. I sat between Mina and Eli. Eli had returned after Mina called him. He leaned his crutch against his chair and watched Celeste with open dislike. She began with a speech about trust. Then she displayed the photograph of me beneath my desk. A murmur moved through the room. The image was larger now. Crueler. My legs were visible beneath the desk. My face was hidden. The caption from the staff chat had been removed. Celeste spoke in a calm, regretful tone. Bellwether supports employees with documented needs. However, no individual may disregard workplace rules, use company property as personal housing, or pressure colleagues to conceal policy violations. Mina whispered something in Spanish that did not sound supportive. Celeste continued. Recent unauthorized access to human resources systems appears to have been used to create misleading claims about our accommodation process. Nathan pushed away from the wall. A board member raised a hand. "Mr. Gray, remain seated until the review is complete." He did not sit. He did remain silent. Celeste turned toward me. "Arlo, would you like to explain why you have been sleeping in the office?" Every face turned. This was the moment she wanted. If I mentioned the elevator, she could call it a housing problem. If I mentioned pain, she could call it undocumented. If I mentioned the deleted requests, she could call them stolen data. The blue folder rested on my lap. I placed both hands over it. "Yes," I said. Celeste smiled. I stood. The movement hurt. "I let it. I sleep here because the company requires in-person attendance while refusing to approve the remote access I requested." Celeste's smile vanished. "I asked about your decision to use the office as housing." "I am answering. You have not completed the accommodation process. I submitted 5 requests. The system does not show them. The backup does." A ripple moved through the room. One of the board members leaned toward Miriam. Celeste's scent sharpened. "The material Mr. Gray accessed is under legal review. I did not access it. You benefited from an improper disclosure. I benefited from someone finally looking." The room went silent. I held up the blue folder. "These are my copies. Physician letters, follow-up emails, dates and names. Mina received one of the attachments. My doctor sent another. Human Resources responded by phone, where no written record would remain." Celeste stepped forward. "This is not the place for personal allegations. You put my sleeping body on a wall." The sentence struck the room harder than a shout. Nathan's hands closed at his sides. Mina stared at Celeste with fierce satisfaction. I continued. "You made it public when you thought the image would shame me. It becomes private only when I speak." Someone in the back began to clap. One person, then another. Celeste raised her voice. "This meeting is not a forum." Eli stood. "Then stop using it like a trial." A board member turned. "Who are you?" "An accessibility consultant invited by Mr. Gray. I have documented 6 launch barriers, 3 policy failures, and 1 stage ramp that would violate the event contract." Celeste looked toward security. Nathan moved before anyone else. He did not step in front of me. He stepped to my side. The distinction mattered. "This review is over," he said. "You do not have authority here." Celeste snapped. "No, but Miriam does." Everyone looked at the chief executive. Miriam remained seated. Her face had gone pale. "Celeste," she said, "did you delete accommodation records?" "No." "Did you instruct employees to document Arlo?" "I instructed managers to preserve performance information. Jasper is not a manager." For the first time, Celeste faltered. Jasper stood near the rear doors. He held his own phone. "I have the messages," he said. Every head turned. Celeste's expression hardened. "You were instructed not to discuss an active personnel matter. You instructed me to delete the messages." The room erupted. Miriam rose. "Enough. Outside counsel will take custody of the records. Celeste, surrender your access badge." One board member stood with her. "We should not act on unverified accusations during a critical launch." Miriam looked at him. "Then we will verify them without the accused administrator controlling the files." Celeste did not move. Security approached. She removed her badge and placed it on the stage. As she passed me, her synthetic rose scent turned bitter. "You think he cares about you?" she whispered. "Ask what his bonus depends on." Then she walked away. I looked at Nathan. He had heard her. His expression told me she had not lied. The conference hall emptied in fragments. Employees clustered in the corridors, whispering. Mina wanted me to rest. Eli wanted to call a lawyer. Jasper wanted to give a full statement before fear changed his mind. I wanted Nathan to answer one question. We went to the executive lounge. I closed the door. He remained near it, giving me the whole room. What bonus? I asked. Nathan took a folded document from inside his jacket. He had been carrying it. That made the answer worse. My contract includes a completion payment if the board approves the restructuring plan. How much? Enough to matter. What does completion require? A 15% reduction in operating costs. People, mostly. Was my dismissal part of your bonus? His face did not move. Yes. The room seemed to narrow around us. You knew Celeste was using that against you. I knew after the archive backup. You did not tell me. I was going to. When? After the distributor presentation. After I saved the launch. Yes. I laughed once. The sound broke in the middle. Nathan flinched. You used my work before giving me the full truth. I did. You let me believe we were solving this together. We were. Do not. My scent sharpened with anger and pain. I hated that my body could make emotion visible. Nathan's pupils widened. He immediately stepped farther back. Do not turn restraint into virtue, I said. It is the minimum. I know. Stop saying that. His control cracked. What do you want from me, Arlo? The truth before it becomes convenient. I was afraid you would walk away from the launch. Then you did not trust me with the choice. No. The answer came raw. He looked at the contract in his hand. I did exactly what you accused me of doing. I decided the result mattered more than your consent. I swallowed. He continued. I told myself I was protecting the company. I told myself I would fix the list before it caused harm. I told myself the evidence had to be secure before I involved you. And your bonus? I terminated the bonus clause this morning. He placed the document on the table. A signed amendment was clipped to the front. The payment had been waived. I stared at it. That does not erase the contract. No. It does not prove you care. No. Then why show me? Because it belongs in the truth you get to judge. That sentence reached somewhere my anger had not protected. I looked away. Outside the windows, rain had begun. The city blurred into silver lines. We still need the original records, I said. The backup is enough for an inquiry. Not for the board member who defended her. Nathan nodded. There may be paper intake logs in the old archive. Where? Basement level 2. The archive room with the broken lift. His expression tightened. Yes, of course. Bellwether's oldest records were stored beneath the original printing warehouse. The public elevator stopped at Basement 1. Basement 2 was accessible only through a freight lift on the loading side or a long staircase. Eli had already marked it as inaccessible. Nathan said, I can retrieve them. No. Arlo. They are my records. The freight lift is under maintenance. Then call the maintenance supervisor. It could take hours. The launch is tomorrow. I know. Stop saying you know. His mouth almost moved. The familiar line no longer felt playful. It felt like a bridge neither of us knew how to cross. I picked up the contract amendment. Give me the choice. Nathan looked at the rain. Then he took out his phone. The maintenance supervisor arrived 40 minutes later. The freight lift worked after a manual reset. Eli insisted on coming. Mina insisted on bringing food. Jasper insisted on giving his statement first, which was the only intelligent choice he had made all week. By 6 that evening, Nathan and I entered the basement archive with an external lawyer named Daniel Cho and a security officer. Rows of gray boxes disappeared into cold fluorescent distance. The intake logs were stored by year. My first request had been submitted in March. Daniel located the March box. It was empty. The April box was also empty. The May box contained only payroll corrections. Nathan's scent darkened. She cleared them. Not all of them, I said. What makes you think that? Celeste does not throw away leverage. We searched her retention schedule. Human Resources kept rejected documents for 90 days before destruction. Approved documents went into personnel files. Unprocessed forms went into a temporary review cabinet. The cabinet stood at the rear of the archive. It was locked. Daniel called outside counsel for authorization to open it. While he waited, the security officer received an alarm on his radio. A water sensor had triggered in the loading corridor. He and Daniel left to inspect it. Nathan and I remained beside the locked cabinet. The fluorescent lights flickered. "Tell me this is not where the building floods," I said. "The warehouse is 112 years old." That was not reassuring. Nathan removed his jacket and placed it on a clean box. "Sit." I looked at him. He corrected himself. Would sitting help? Yes. He moved the jacket to the floor without offering it as a cushion. I sat on a low document crate with my back against the wall. The pain had been building since the conduct review. Now it moved through my left side in hot waves. I closed my eyes. Nathan stayed several feet away. "What do you need?" he asked. "Quiet." He gave it to me. Rain hammered somewhere beyond the basement walls. The lights flickered again. My suppressant patch began to peel at one corner. Pain changed my body chemistry. Stress made the patch less reliable. A soft note of omega scent escaped into the room, lavender mixed with graphite and something warmer. Nathan went completely still. I opened my eyes. His hands were flat against the cabinet. His cedar scent deepened in instinctive response, then vanished behind brutal control. "I can leave," he said. "The door is on the other side of the flooded corridor. I can stand near it. You are already standing 6 feet away. Do you want more distance?" I considered the room, the cold, the locked cabinet, the pain twisting through my hip. "No." His gaze held mine. "I am not asking because I cannot control myself. I know. I am asking because your comfort matters." The sentence landed softly. I looked at the frayed edge of my patch. "My replacement is in the lounge. I have an emergency kit in my bag." "Why?" "Eli." "Of course." "Is the patch sealed?" "Yes." "Put it on the floor and slide it over." Nathan moved slowly. He took a small packet from his briefcase, placed it on the concrete, and pushed it toward me. I picked it up. My fingers shook. He noticed. He did not move. The restraint cost him. I could see it in the line of his shoulders. "Turn around," I said. He did. I replaced the patch beneath my collar. The movement pulled at my ribs. A breath escaped me. Nathan's hands tightened. "Done," I said. He turned back. The new patch would take time. My scent still lingered. So did his. Cedar after rain. Warm paper. The dangerous quiet of an alpha who wanted to move closer and refused to steal the decision. "You called me difficult," I said. His eyes lowered. "Yes." "You signed my name." "Yes." "You brought your brother to solve me." "Yes." "You changed the meeting links." "Yes." "You unlocked a room." "Yes." "You waived your bonus." "Yes." "Why?" His voice became rough. "Because every time I thought I was helping, you showed me the part where I was still choosing for you. That is not an answer. It is the only honest one I have." The alarm lights turned red. A mechanical lock slammed through the archive door. I startled. Pain flashed through me. Nathan took one step forward, then stopped. "Arlo, I am fine. You are not. Do not argue with me about my body. I am not. I am asking whether you want support." The red light painted his face in dark edges. The room smelled like rain, paper, cedar, and the faint lavender my patch had not yet contained. "What kind?" I asked. "Your choice." I looked at his hands. "Give me your wrist." He crossed the distance slowly and knelt in front of me. He did not touch. He held out his wrist, palm up. I wrapped my fingers around it. His pulse jumped beneath my thumb. The alpha in him reacted, not with dominance, but with a trembling stillness that made my chest ache. "Closer," I said. He moved closer. "Stop." He stopped. Our knees almost touched. His scent steadied my breathing, not because biology had made a decision for me, because he had asked, because I had answered, because every inch between us belonged to a choice. Nathan looked at my mouth, then back at my eyes. "Arlo," he said. "What?" "If I ask the wrong question, tell me." "You usually ask the wrong question." His breath caught with something like laughter. Then his expression became serious. "May I touch your face?" The air between us changed. I thought of the signature on the dismissal list. I thought of the unlocked lounge. I thought of the photograph on the wall. I thought of him standing beside me instead of in front of me. "Yes," I said, "but do not decide what happens after that." His hand rose. His knuckles brushed my cheek with impossible care. The locked cabinet, the red alarm light, the rain, and every argument between us seemed to hold its breath. His forehead lowered toward mine. I tightened my fingers around his wrist. He stopped a breath away. "Still yes," he whispered. I answered by closing the last inch. And this is where the YouTube safe version fades away from the locked archive. The full, uncut continuation of that consent-led moment, the adult scene that follows, Nathan's private alpha perspective, and the emotional aftermath are available on Patreon. For now, we return to the next morning, when the archive door opened and the evidence inside the cabinet changed everything. I woke in the executive lounge with Nathan's jacket folded beneath my head and sunlight cutting across the carpet. Nothing about the way he sat in the chair beside the door suggested the night had been simple. His tie was gone. His sleeves were rolled to his elbows. He was awake, watching the city. My replacement patch held firm beneath my collar. The room smelled faintly of tea and cedar. When I moved, Nathan turned. "Good morning." His voice was careful. "Did you sleep?" "For an hour." That was not what I asked. A shadow of warmth touched his eyes. "Yes, a little." I pushed myself upright. He did not help until I held out my hand. Then he crossed the room and offered his forearm. I used it to stand. He released me immediately. The boundary was so precise that it felt like a promise. "What happened with the cabinet?" I asked. "Daniel opened it after the alarm cleared." "And?" Nathan picked up the blue folder from the table. It was thicker. Inside were photocopies of intake sheets bearing my signature. Each one had a received stamp. Each one had a handwritten note. "Hold, do not process, CV." My physician letters were there. Mina's forwarded email was logged. So were requests from 7 other employees. At the back was a monthly report prepared for the board's sale committee. Accommodation liability reduced by 87%. Personnel flexibility risk reduced by 62%. Projected restructuring savings increased by 12%. Celeste had not acted alone. A board member had initialed every page. Graham Holt, the same man who defended her during the conduct review. I sat again. "Nathan, I know." "Do not," he exhaled. "Sorry. This was not one person. No. The sale committee knew. We have evidence that at least one member knew. What happens to the launch?" "It proceeds tonight." "You sound certain." "Miriam believes canceling would punish the employees and authors Celeste harmed." "What happens before the launch?" "Outside counsel interviews the board." "And after?" "That depends on you." I looked at him. Nathan placed a flash drive beside the blue folder. It contains the deletion logs, the intake records, Jasper's messages, the performance warnings, and my original restructuring recommendation. "Why include yours?" "Because the truth does not become cleaner by removing my part." I touched the drive. "What do you want me to do with it?" "Whatever you choose." You have a recommendation. Yes. Tell me. Present the evidence at the board session before the launch. Request an external investigation, suspension of the sale, restoration of affected employees' records, and an independent accessibility policy. That is what the consultant recommends. Yes. What does Nathan recommend? His expression softened. That you do not stand alone when they make you explain what they did to you. My throat tightened. Standing beside me is not the same as speaking for me. I know. I let the phrase pass this time. At noon, Miriam convened an emergency board session. Graham Holt joined by video from an airport lounge. He denied seeing individual records. He claimed Celeste had summarized routine compliance improvements. Daniel displayed his initials on the report. Graham called them administrative acknowledgments. Mina provided the original physician email. Eli presented the launch accessibility failures. Jasper gave his statement and accepted responsibility for photographing me. Nathan submitted his contract, the waived bonus, and the original dismissal list. Then the board asked me to speak. I opened the blue folder. For months, I had imagined this moment. In those fantasies, I was eloquent. I destroyed every lie with perfect sentences. In reality, my hands shook. My voice did too. I asked for 4 things, I said. A remote link, a chair, an unlocked room, flexible arrival. No one interrupted. I was told the request did not exist. Then my responses to the missing access were documented as misconduct. The company created the barrier, erased the request, and punished me for not crossing it correctly. Graham's face remained in a small square on the screen. This is regrettable, but the board cannot supervise every administrative error. An error happens once, I said. A system repeats. Eli looked at me with quiet approval. I continued. 7 employees had requests held. 4 received performance warnings afterward. 3 left the company. 1 was pregnant. 1 was recovering from surgery. 1 needed captions to attend meetings. Their absence improved your numbers. Graham leaned toward his camera. You are making serious claims about intent. No, the documents make them. I slid the report across the table. The question is whether Bellwether treats access as a right or a cost someone can hide. Miriam closed her eyes briefly. When she opened them, she looked older. My father built this company because larger publishers would not make room for difficult books, she said. I allowed the board to make room for a sale by removing difficult people. I hated the word. She heard it. I am sorry, she said. An apology did not repair policy. It did not return careers. It did not fix my building elevator. It was still more than Celeste had given. The board voted to suspend the North Star negotiations. Graham Holt was removed from the sale committee pending investigation. Celeste's suspension became termination for cause after outside counsel confirmed the deletion logs. Every affected employee received notice that their performance records would be reviewed. The company announced an independent accessibility audit led by someone neither Nathan nor Miriam selected alone. Those decisions happened before 4 in the afternoon. At 4:15, the launch hall lost power. Nathan asked what I needed instead of deciding for me. With battery power, a chair beside the control booth, Eli's accessible route, and Mina's reorganized program, we kept the event alive. Jasper returned with the electrician minutes before the doors opened. At 6, the doors opened. Readers entered beneath emergency lanterns. The darkness made the warehouse look like part of the book. People whispered that it was intentional. Mina whispered that she would accept credit later. The author of The Clockmaker's Garden appeared on stage by live video from London. The projected city unfolded behind her. The crowd went silent. The broken tower repaired itself. The silver train crossed the bridge. The boy beneath the clock looked up as morning filled the streets. Applause shook the old walls. I stood beside the control booth with the blue folder tucked under my arm. For the first time, it did not feel like proof I had to carry alone. Then the main screen went black. A new slide appeared. It showed the staff announcement photograph of me beneath my desk. Gasps moved through the hall. I turned toward the stage. Nathan stood at the presentation console. Miriam stood behind him. Graham Holt had sent an emergency legal notice threatening action if internal personnel material was disclosed. Nathan had ignored it. He took the microphone. "My name is Nathan Gray," he said. "I was hired to identify inefficiency at Bellwether House." The crowd quieted. Employees gathered along the gallery rail. Nathan looked directly at me. "I found it." The screen changed. My first accommodation request appeared, then the second, then the physician letter, then the intake stamp, then the handwritten instruction to hold the request. One after another, the deleted records filled the wall. No medical details were visible, only dates, request types, receipt stamps, deletion logs, and administrator codes. Nathan had protected the private information while exposing the pattern. The final slide showed his dismissal recommendation with his own signature. A murmur moved through the hall. He did not hide it. "I called Arlo Quinn difficult because he would not become easy to discard," he said. "I treated missing records as missing effort. I confused compliance with truth. I signed a recommendation that should never have existed." His voice did not break. His control made the confession heavier. Tonight's launch exists because Arlo completed work the company did not count, corrected failures the company credited to others, and kept creating, while the systems around him made creation harder. He looked toward the blue folder under my arm. Bellwether tried to turn access into a private favor and denial into a performance problem. The screen changed again. 7 rows appeared. 7 deleted accommodation files. "This evidence has been delivered to outside counsel and the affected employees. The sale process has been suspended. An independent investigation is beginning." He stepped away from the console. Then he walked down from the stage. The crowd parted. Nathan stopped in front of me. He held out the microphone, not toward my mouth, toward my hand. The choice was mine. I looked at the stage, at the photograph, at the requests, at the people who had watched me become a joke in the staff chat and a warning in the conduct review. My fingers closed around the microphone. Nathan released it. I walked onto the stage at my own pace. No one rushed me. No one offered an arm I had not requested. When I reached the center, the deleted requests glowed behind me. "My name is Arlo Quinn," I said. "I am the lead illustrator of The Clockmaker's Garden." Applause rose. I waited until it faded. "I am also the employee in that photograph." The image returned beside the records. I slept beneath my desk because the office had the only elevator I could rely on. I stayed because the company required my body to arrive before it allowed my work to count. I rested in secret because rest was treated as evidence against me. The hall was utterly quiet. I am not ashamed of needing access. My voice steadied. I am ashamed that people were taught to hide it. Mina stood near the front with tears on her face. Eli leaned on his crutch beside her. Jasper stood farther back. He did not ask to be forgiven. That was the first respectful thing he gave me. I opened the blue folder. These pages began as requests. Then they became denials. Then they became proof. I closed it. They should become policy. Miriam joined me on stage. She announced interim measures effective immediately. Remote participation by default for meetings that did not require physical presence. Direct pay transportation when on-site attendance created an access barrier. An independently managed accommodation portal with receipts employees could retain. A wellness room that could not be locked by one administrator. Ergonomic equipment budgets controlled by need, not managerial discretion. Review and compensation for every affected employee. The crowd applauded again. This time, I did not look at Nathan. I needed the moment to belong to all of us. After the formal program, Readers filled the gallery. The author signed digital bookplates from London. Mina managed press questions with terrifying grace. Eli cornered the event contractor and made him promise to rebuild the stage ramp. Jasper asked whether I wanted him to remove his name from the campaign. "No," I said. He looked surprised. "You did the work you did, and took credit for work I did." "Yes. What do you want?" "Correct credits, a written statement, cooperation with the investigation, then distance." His face tightened. "That is fair." "It is not about fair. It is my boundary." He nodded. "Understood." The word sounded different from him. Less like a promise, more like a beginning. Near midnight, the last guest left. The warehouse lights had returned, but the emergency lanterns still glowed along the floor. I found Nathan in the creative studio. He was alone beside the original painting of the clock tower. His jacket was folded over one arm. The charcoal suit that once made him look untouchable was wrinkled. He looked tired, human. He turned when I entered. "Do you want privacy?" I asked. "No." "Do you want company?" His eyes held mine. "Yes." I walked inside. On the central table sat a new access card. Studio 4. I looked at him. "What is that?" "The former executive storage room." "What happened to the executives?" "They lost a vote." I picked up the card. "Why is my name on it?" "It is not." He was right. The card listed no individual. It read, "Accessible Creative Studio, reservable by staff." I looked back at him. Nathan said, "Adjustable workstations, rest space, secure storage, independent temperature controls." The policy was approved for the whole creative department. "You did not build me a room." "No." "You changed who gets to use one." "Yes." Warmth moved through my chest. It did not erase the dismissal list. It did not erase the conduct review. Repair was not erasure. It was what happened after the truth remained visible. Nathan set his jacket on the table. "I am leaving Bellwether after the investigation handoff." The warmth vanished. "Why?" "My contract was to complete the restructuring." "You waived the completion payment." "Yes." "Are they firing you?" "No." "Then why leave?" He looked at the painting. "Because staying would put me in a position of power over you." The answer hurt in a different way. "You decided that for me." His eyes closed briefly. When they opened, regret had replaced certainty. "You are right." I almost smiled. "Now you are doing it correctly." He waited. I placed the access card beside the blue folder. "What do you want, Nathan?" His control thinned. "You." The word was quiet. No alpha command. No claim. No strategy. Just a truth offered without defense. He continued. "I want to know what makes you laugh when you are not angry with me. I want to see the drawings you choose to show me. I want to ask before I touch you and believe your answer. I want to stand beside you when standing helps, sit with you when it does not, and stop pretending care is safer when I hide it inside criticism." My throat tightened. He took one breath. "But wanting does not give me a right to ask you for anything tonight." That sounds like another decision. His gaze sharpened. I stepped closer. "Ask." The alpha in him went still. "Arlo, ask the question without choosing my answer." Nathan looked at the blue folder, then at the access card, then at me. "Will you let me stay beside you after Bellwether?" My heart beat painfully hard. He did not move closer. He did not flood the room with scent. He did not reach for my face. He waited. I picked up the access card and placed it in his hand. Then I closed his fingers around it. "That is not my answer," I said. His breath caught. "No? It is a door. To what?" "To the part where you stop trying to know before I tell you." The tension in his face softened. "May I walk you home?" "My elevator is still broken." May I walk you to the hotel across the street and let you choose what happens next? I looked at him for a long moment. Yes. We left Studio 4 together. At the doorway, Nathan paused. May I hold your hand? I offered it. His fingers closed around mine with careful warmth. Behind us, the blue folder remained on the table beneath the repaired clock tower. It had begun as a request no one wanted to receive. It had become evidence no one could erase. Now, beside the access card, it looked almost like a promise. The studio door closed before I gave Nathan the rest of my answer. And that is where the YouTube safe version ends. The uncut continuation, the adult spicy scenes after the hotel door closes, Nathan's full remorse-filled alpha point of view, the deeper board conspiracy, Arlo's real answer, the complete confession with explicit boundaries, and the bonus epilogue inside their future accessible studio are available now on Patreon. Those are the scenes this version could not include. The link is in the description and pinned comment. Unlock the complete story there. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Because I don't make any money from YouTube, I depend entirely on paid Patreon subscriptions to keep this channel alive and continue creating content for you. I will keep posting here on YouTube, but if you want to support my work, please visit patreon.com/FelixBL. The link is the very first one in the description below. Before you go, tell me in the comments where in the world you're watching from and share your thoughts on the story.